Hello, I'm MPX and welcome back to another episode of my TU38 Let's Play. This is a Let's Play I started after the most recent major update came out for Minecraft on the consoles, and which so far I've had quite a bit of fun with. I've built myself a city, I've built myself a couple of houses, and I've also built one of the biggest projects I've ever attempted in Minecraft, which is the Battle Minigame Lobby. So that's it you're seeing in front of me. It's obviously a big work in progress project right now, and as much as I love working on this thing, it is one of those things where, one, a lot of you are like, yeah, we've seen it for 3 episodes, maybe we take a break from it, but two, it's always good to take a break even from the things you really love, because, you know, if you give it long enough, then you can eventually grow to everything, and if you want to love something, it's good to just, you know, give it a little bit of space, and that's what I'm doing with my Battle Minigame Lobby. I'm locking myself out on the other side of the gates, and I'll be coming back in either a week or 2 weeks to, you know, just work on a brand new building with a fresh perspective and a fresh, like, breath of fresh air. So, yeah, that's a pro tip for real life too, by the way. I don't know if I've said that before, but it's one of my favourite, like, you know, tips if you want to love something. You do need to give it space every now and then. You might think doing something every waking moment ever is fun, but, you know, even if you're like an ice cream taster, that's going to get boring if you do that 100 hours a week, or maybe it won't do. You know, you decide for yourself. But yeah, today what we're going to be doing, because it's not going to be that, is we're going to be working on a brand new part of the city, because this city is the biggest part of this Let's Play. It's what the big project I've been working on is, and this kind of half the city over there is well defined. It's going to be a 5x5 city, so you can see most of the blocks are pretty well picked out over there. There's the NPC villager city part over there. There's the you know, the farm part just over there. There's the cat quarters over there. But this part is just undefined. The ground's not even. It's like going into the desert. There's still forests here, there's a savannah and a plains. Basically, it's a bit of a mess. So today, I'm going to be kind of evening that out, sorting it out, and laying the groundwork for what I want to build here. And even though I'm also, by the way, in this episode, as well as building a brand new part of the city, I'm also going to be talking about a bunch of things, including Pokemon Go. Last week I said I'd talk about Pokemon Go, and then I got distracted by something, probably the Ocean Monument, and then didn't, which you know, a part of me was like, yeah, that probably should be fixed. So today, I'll be talking about Pokemon Go, other things I find interesting, and maybe building part of the city, because this is going to be the dog part of the city. I'll give it a catchy name later, but yeah, this is where the dogs will go to, you know, because basically the city is going to be made up of lots of different types of population, and one of those types is going to be dogs. Also, we need a bit more sand, so since there's just a random patch over there that probably needs taming anyway, we'll take this, and yeah, we'll use it to make this little thing, and yeah, this is going to be the dog quarters, and it's going to be deliberately kind of bad, which is where my talents are going to come in handy, because as a lot of you are already aware, I'm pretty good at building bad things, sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, and I figure given that this is going to be the bad part of the city, because, you know, let's be realistic, every city in real life has some bad area, you know, where, like, it just isn't safe and all that sort of stuff. That's the kind of vision I have for this area. So it's going to be built from deliberately cheap materials. We're going to be using sandstone, we're going to be using wood, and it should be an interesting time to build, because again, there's going to be some experiments. If I build something wrong, it'll be like, oh yeah, look how bad this part of the town is. They can't even build their houses, right? And that's the dream anyway, and this is what we're going to be building on. So first of all, pro tip before we do anything else, is chop down the cacti so they don't get in my way. In fact, let's take them with us and then burn them somewhere. Or, as my favourite thing to do is, throw the cactus, add other cactus, because I have more than enough cactus in this world. I don't just do with that. And also, if you do want to save your dead bushes, which for some reason I do, take those with you too. And just like that, we've got ourselves some flat ground to work with. So now, I guess, let's start on a house. So like I said, it's going to be sandstone and wood. I want to say entirely. I might include some glass in the fancy houses. But yeah, I want these to really have the impression that they're just like, you know, kind of like, I think shantytown's the right word, but it sounds like I'm talking about a pirate town. You know, like a really kind of rough kind of area where the houses are just kind of put together. Maybe it is shantytown. I mean, anyway, you know, like the slums, maybe, you know, that's sort of you know, an area, a bad part that's kind of defined by the fact that all of the houses are small, all the houses are made out of bad materials, and also you'll see some dogs inside, and I don't know, it might be a cool imagery, or maybe, worst case scenario, we just make it the abandoned part of town. Either way, it's a good thing to have, because it's a thing that you get in the real life. So, yeah, now we've got the base structure done. It's a really basic 5x5 cube. I think this is roughly the size of an NPC villager house, so isn't that a fun little intricacy there, right there? We'll place a crafting table here. Because again, I want all of these to be pretty much non-notable houses. Your eye should only catch the best of these. Yeah, that's my kind of plan here. Like, your eye should only catch the very best of these buildings. And if you look at the best of something and it's still pretty bad, that gives you a good impression that everything's bad. Like, imagine if I said my favorite, or you know, the best Pokemon I have is a CP12 Rattata, and you'd be like, wow. Therefore, every one of the other Pokemon you have is bad. So, speaking of Pokemon Go, this is something, I know there's some of you out there that don't play it and don't amazingly want to hear about it, but it has been, like, an amazingly requested thing on my channel and just, you know, the Let's Play in general, and I did say I'd talk about it, so let's talk about it a little bit. So, I will clarify before I go any further, I'm only, like, level 10 or something like that, like, I've been playing, you know, I played a decent amount of it, but it really sucks to play where I live, and that's one of the points I wanted to raise here. Also, do we need a back on this, or... I think that'll probably be just about fine, because now the back's got like kind of a texture to it. Yeah, look, we made a house, but it's not quite where I'd like it to be, so maybe have like a sunroof place thing. I guess we gotta go all the way around on this, don't we? All the way around except the back. There we go. Make it kind of like a front-facing house that doesn't even isn't even properly done at the back here. I like that idea. Oh, and then we'll have like, okay, point it out like that, and that way no one will know the difference. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Pokemon Go just really the problem with it is it's such an amazingly thought out game, and it's one of the best games because it encourages people to go and do like great things in real life. Because regardless of what you think about these Pokemonsters and how people are spending more time with them than they do with their grandparents, or some whatever the opinions actually are. I think the reality behind the game is it's great that it'll encourage you to go outside, but it's so much better in cities, and I think that's a real problem, because I hear about a lot of people who have to drive for an hour just to find a Pokestop, and, a lot of people are willing to do it, which is the crazy thing to me, but, there's people like that have to go and drive, or something like that. For me, at least, it's, at least like a 10-minute walk to a Pokestop, and then like an hour walk if I want to get to anything realistic. And it's just like, I can't decide to just do that late at night, or, I can decide to do it, but, it takes me, it's a big commitment, a way bigger commitment than it is for most people, and it's something that I kind of have a problem with personally. So, yeah, even though the game itself, I think it's really well monetized, like, I don't have any problems with that, like, the XP is really great, and the way you're gonna catch them all, it's all pretty cool, but I think the fact that, one, the servers have not worked at all, like, if you go out to play the game, you walk for half an hour, and then, servers are down, guess I'm going to go home. One, that's a big problem. I know that's out of their control. But two, it's the fact that it doesn't work for real areas. And yeah, basically what I'm saying is I really like Pokemon Go, but I like the idea of Pokemon Go like 100 times more than I like actual Pokemon Go. So yeah, this is my first shanty house, by the way. I like it, but I think I might have added too much detail with this roof. So maybe this should be the fancy one. This should be the very... Yeah, let's try that. So let's start building away from here and trying to build less fancy, because I really thought like adding these like little points here would make it look slightly worse, but evidently not. So yeah, let's go next door to it and just kind of have another one that's going to be the same but without those things, because that can now be like the nice one. Like I said, it's like when if you find out I have a CP12 Rattata and I think that's the best of my Pokemon, you'd be like, wow, the rest of your Pokemon sure do suck. This is a CP12 Rattata. Yeah, look at me, I'm making like a Pokemon reference. But yeah, I think that kind of sums up most of the thoughts I had about the game. It's an interesting concept, and I really love it, but right now it's not working the way anyone wants it to work, which is a shame. So yeah, but whenever it receives updates, it'll be awesome. But I don't really amazingly like it right now. But with that said, I'm still playing it nonetheless. So I think that kind of sums up my thoughts on Pokemon Go. I usually hate like having to be a contrarian on this sort of thing, because I know that people will be like, your opinion on Pokemon Go makes me want to burn down I don't know, what do people burn down? Like something? Yeah, you may want to burn down anything. You shouldn't burn down anything. If right now you've got a can of petrol in your hand and you're like, I want to burn something down, put the can down. Maybe you could like go stroke a cat instead. Maybe you should drink a milkshake, because milkshake is delicious. Anyway, with that said, I think that's about all I have to say about Pokemon Go. Hopefully I didn't incite a riot with even my relatively tame comments, I'd like to believe. Also, yeah, I really do like this, and I also like that we can hop from village house to village house. So yeah, that's nice. So we've got 2 village houses so far. We're starting to run out of sandstone, which is a problem. But you can already see the basic idea of what I'm going for. This is going to stand out, and these are just going to be kind of like blended to the background. I do want to have doors on these, maybe, and maybe windows too, like, just have a hole in the wall that's like, oh, yep, that's my window for today. But we'll see how that goes, because I think when you have a house this small, having a window can really be problematic. So maybe we'll do that, or maybe we'll have like, what we could do, for instance, is we could put like a, half slab of wood in there, because, actually, let's make a bunch of half slabs of wood anyway, because we need like a bunch of those, to be honest. So make a whole bunch of this, make some stairs, because those are useful, but also make a bunch of half slabs, so we can try out stuff like, for instance, having a window that is just like that. Isn't that lovely? There we go. Yeah, that's a window. It's a very low-tech window, but that's what we're going for here. So, yeah, hopefully by the end of this, we'll have like a real feel that like this is the bad part of town that no one wants to go to. But before we can get there, we need to build a 3rd house. So I think this will be just another kind of cookie-cutter house, but kind of in between these two. Again, the spacing is deliberately going to be awful here, because that kind of just gives the impression that there was no planning required. It was just, these dogs, which will move in eventually, just set up their, or this abandoned town, people just set up their houses because they needed to, for whatever reason. Speaking of setting up houses, though, I get quite a few messages on the regular asking for a house update, and I figured since it came up relatively recently. One, I would mention that it's going along well. Thank you to everyone who has been asking. But two, I would mention that, it's one of those funny things that, like, isn't really explainable to most people, because I was like, oh yeah, so if I get it on this date, that means I can move in from, like a month afterwards, and, the common thing to that is like, wait, it takes you a month to, like, get moved in and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, you see, there won't be internet there for a month, and that's it sounds so ridiculous, like, anyone who's not from, like, the internet generation, right, to say, oh yeah, I don't want to live here because there's no internet, but I think in reality, to, like, most people that use the internet on a regular basis, particularly me, because, I use it for, like, literally what I do for a living, multiple forms, whether it's YouTube or whether it's the book business or whatever. But basically, yeah, I use the internet to do everything I want for a living, also for entertainment, everything like that. And it's literally like if I'd heard that a house had no running water, and most older people would be like, oh yeah, house has no running water, probably shouldn't move in. But it's literally more important than that to me that there's internet than running water, because you got to think, like, running water, for instance. It's actually really, really easy to kind of pass it out. If you don't need it to live, because if you need water, you can go buy a bottle of it. It's expensive, but it's better than not having a place, right? But internet, you can use your mobile internet, but only for so much, not to upload videos for sure. And it's just, yeah, it's one of those fun little things that's like, I feel like you, collectively, the subscribers will probably understand that, because you're watching this video on the internet, or maybe if you're not, I'm confused as to how you're watching it. I'd say leave a comment if you're not watching this on the internet, but you literally don't have the internet to... let's just not question that. But yeah, you're all watching this having used the internet in some way to find this. I hope anyway. Unless there's, like, pirate DVDs of, like, Toy Cat's greatest Minecraft hits or something. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, you're all watching this internet and you, like, kind of understand that. But to some people in real life, it is just one of those things that's like, but why? And it's confusing. So yeah, here's my sandstone, this is my secret way of finding sandstone, by the way. Or it's not very secret, but, like, what I always recommend if, like, you need sandstone for a build, like I do right now, just find, like, an exposed cave. You always find so much sandstone in both the ceiling and the floor, and it's usually enough to just get you a whole brand new house, which, in this case, will at least help me finish this, and then move on to the next one. So yeah, let's place the last of these blocks, and then again, I want to make it very slightly different, but pretty much the same design. So this one, for instance, it's going to have, like... Actually, no, I'll keep the door in the same place, but we'll make a window on the left side instead. I don't know why they only need one window per house. I didn't question it, but still. This is just a thing. So you can just about see out that window. It just about lets light in. And that's all you really need from a window if you think about it. So yeah, now what we do is we go up top. We'll replace this with the things. I forgot that I need to actually be on top of this before I do anything else. And then we'll start working on the roof. So let's just try this one more time. So I guess around the edges, we'll just have slabs like this, I'm thinking. And then to make this house very slightly different, like I said, what we'll do is we'll place some stairs. So we'll place this one there. Just so it's got like a tiny higher top and it looks like, ooh, this house has a chimney, very fancy. Except it won't be a chimney, it'll be like a skylight. But still, it's always designed to show, like, when you see someone's best foot is a really bad foot, you get a good impression about a place. And I reckon that's what this kind of does. So yeah, we've got 3 entirely different roofs now. None of them amazing. But again, because we're going for bad, I think we're doing a pretty good job. So next up, I think we want to make another house here. For this one, I'll just do the outline so you can get the point of it. And then just behind this one, I want to have like a seriously good house. Like a 2-story one as kind of like the tribe leader house. Because I think that makes sense to me. So yeah, next up, we'll just have one that's like here. So 1, 2, 3... Okay, just like this. I'm only going to do the base layer for now because I want to save my sandstone for this next house. And then also, just over here, I'm going to have, like, a relatively nice house. It's going to be 2 stories, which means we need a bunch more sandstone, which means we need to find more caves like this and just mine all the sandstone they have. Because, yeah, sandstone is one of these blocks that if you want to build with, and you want to build in significant portions with, you run into problems really, really quickly. And I get why that is. I get that it spawns below sand. But it is one of those resources that I really enjoy actually getting. So yeah, there's going to be no moving into the house until there's like actually internet, which is why, by the way, even though it's going to be finished in like some point soon, like in the next month or so, I'm not moving until September. So yeah, there you go. There's your update. A lot of people are like, oh, your house is really nice now. It's like, I haven't moved in yet, but I appreciate the idea. And I guess, it is confusing, especially if you haven't been involved in the process, because I haven't. I didn't understand why it was so long and bizarre, and, like, you gotta go speak to this person, who speaks to that person, who speaks to that person. Like, I feel like it's one of these processes that are kind of evolved over time, because most of the time that there's, like, a really obtuse reason for something, is because it has just kind of happened over time, and they just, added more and more things on something. So yeah, let's just start working this one at least. So we'll go with the same... actually, we'll make it very slightly larger. 6 by 6 with, like, double doors. Because, oh, look how fancy this house is. So that means we go 6 blocks back. So this is 4, 5, 6. Okay, perfect amount to actually have all the sand inside the house. But yeah, I'm thinking we make this one very slightly bigger. And this is going to be, like, the chief house. And it's going to be really, really nice compared to the other ones. But still pretty bad in a way that sends a message. Or something like that, anyway. So yeah, that's just... go all around. I realize we have to be really kind of cautious of this if we're going to have a good design in place, because I want to get that whole thing done. But yeah, still, we need to get more sandstone. Sandstone is the ruiner of this design. But for now, do you get the idea? Like giant, mega skyscraper over there, and then little houses over here. I do quite like that. But yeah, the point I was just trying to raise, which now I'm going to run around and grab loose sandstone if I can. Is that going to be too possible? You know, I bet there's a cave over here I haven't been inside. And if there's not, I bet I can find one if I just dig down or something like that. In fact, wait. There's a lot of sand I need to flatten anyway over here. So let's flatten this. Oh, okay. That was successful, wasn't it? That was really successful. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll make another crafting table, because you can never have too many of those. Place it just over here. Go ahead and make ourselves another shovel, because that's pretty important. And yeah, all of this sand that needs to be shoveled out anyway, because you can see there's quite a bit of it. We'll just shovel it away. Especially this stuff back here, and we'll use it to create ourselves a thingamajig. So since also I think there's a lot of sand in there that needs to be gone, we could shovel that now. Like, you know, again, we can do 2 projects at once to make one project help another one, and isn't that going to be lovely? So yeah, just get rid of all this sand. It's not needed. We know it's not needed. We're going to replace it with grass slowly, and that could be our change for today. Because I think this area in particular over there really needs it too. Lots and lots of things that need to be done, and this is just our little first place. So yeah, with that said, yeah, if you look at any complex system, like if you look at like the way like laws decided, you look at like any crazy thing like that, there's always this crazy long system. It's just like, well, you know, it was the way it was before, and we don't really want to change it, so we just kind of left it because people have hard times adjusting to change. Which moves me actually on something else I want to talk about, which is that people really don't like learning new things. I don't know what the reasoning is, but like I'll say I'm susceptible to it too. But like, there's only a certain amount of like time we have in our life to learn things. But most people actually hate learning in general, even though learning is what makes like people smart and other things like that. For some reason, people hate learning. I can't tell you why it is, and it means that like basically there's like a finite amount of facts you could learn in your lifetime, even if you really tried, and most people are never going to get to that point. But there's a point I often hear a lot, which is that like, oh yeah, so people are just collectively stupid because think about how people can't stand in line at the baggage claim or something like that. And it made me realize, like, I have run across situations where I felt, like, incredibly stupid because of stuff like that. And I realized what it is like, when you're in high-intensity situations with lots of stupid people, I feel like that somehow makes you more stupid. Like, if you're in a university or you're in, some form of, like, academic place where you feel like everyone's smart, somehow you feel smarter and therefore you act smarter. But, like, oh, sandstone. Isn't that handy? Whereas, when you're just, like, you're surrounded by people that are just, like, rushing onto a plane when they really don't need to. Although, pro tip, everyone's always like, well, you don't need to rush to get on the plane. You do need to rush to get on the plane, because otherwise you're going to have to force someone out of your seat. And, point being that, staying on a serious point here. I think what it is like your environment makes you feel more or less stupid, which is why you are surrounded by people that you perceive to be smart, and whenever people are like, oh yeah, but people are stupid, and you're like, oh no, I know plenty of people that aren't. There's this kind of like weird disconnect between what you think and what the world is, and I think the smartness of people is probably the biggest example of that. So yeah, maybe that's a thought that everyone else has already had, or maybe it's not. Maybe you're like, that is something new. Either way though, I'm going to do the same kind of like fence thing around this. I'm going to have to be really cautious because I'm running out of wood for this whole thing. In fact, if we just do enough of it so that we can place stuff around it, which we can right there, then that'll be just fine for me. Oh, in fact, wait, what we need to do is we need to make the inner layer like a staircase that builds up to something. Because yeah, I've got these staircases anyway, right? So we make it like a staircase, then there'll be like a little indent in the house, and everybody loves their indents. That's a fact I can tell you. So actually, let's test it just to see what it does look like. So it's going to like go in and then go out if I do it this way. I don't hate that so much. It's got like an interesting... Yeah, I think it's got an interesting quality to it. So now that means we can use this to go around the outside. Place more of these. Is this correct? I think it is correct. And so on and so forth. I think it's going to look kind of weird, but that's half of what we're going for. Again, this is meant to be the best house, and it's still meant to make you go, this is the best you've got. That's a little bit strange. It's like, okay, so random example. When I went to Ukraine the one time, went to a lovely restaurant, and I was just weirded out by everything, and it made me go, "Wow, that was a fancy restaurant, and it cost me that country was incredibly cheap." And you're like, so I guess everything will make sense then, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe that story made no sense, and maybe like, where even is Ukraine, Toycat? And if you're curious about that, then I will tell you that I didn't even know Ukraine was a country until like 10 years ago. So maybe you don't even need to. I mean, realistically, it's one of those things where, like, I do my Geography of Toycat series on the second channel, right? You're all probably aware of that, if you watch this Let's Play. But, like, some people will be like, oh, yeah, you didn't even know where Yemen was? That's so ridiculous. Or, like, insert country here or whatever. But, you know, when you think about it, in your day-to-day life, how often do you really need to know anything about any country that's not yours? In fact, most people don't even need to know the big things about their country. Like, you know, most people... You don't need to know London is your capital if you're never going to London, right? Or if you're never doing business that involves London. It's one of those interesting thoughts I had recently, that like certain types of knowledge are pointless, but yet we still want everyone to have them, which a little bit strange to me, a little bit strange. So, I figured that'd be a good point to make as our last one for today. You don't need to know everything. It's good to know certain things, but just because some people say you need to learn something, it doesn't mean you should. Which is also, you know, why people hate like certain subjects in school. Like, you know, like people are like, oh, why do I need to do algebra for, or like, why do I need to learn that or that? I think one of the most important things to learn yourself or to teach someone else is that, like, learning is important. Not all learning is. Some learnings is just to show that you can learn, and other types of learning is cool and stuff. Or maybe I just rambled. Also, what? Okay, look at these corners. There's something really bizarre about these corners, but, you know, it's fine, it's fine. I'll take it. And this is, for now, it's not finished, but it's mostly finished, the dog / the cheap section of the IBX Toy City, or the Toytopia. I really haven't decided on a name yet. But yeah, this is what I built today. I hope you did all enjoy it. If you did, like the video and let me know, because it helps out the channel, and lets me know you do like the Let's Play. Share the video if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here. Let me know if you want to see me go back to the battle minigame next week, because I really want to go and make more of this. Because, I mean, again, it's slowly coming to place across all of it. Let me know if you do, with your words and your comments. And as always, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everyone. Oh, wait, no, key point. So a lot of people are really confused, because I did a world tour of my Let's Play from 3 years ago, and people were like, hey, all of that stuff is finished now, because this is this. That was 3 years ago. I can finish stuff in 3 years. I try. I really do. But yeah, thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.